Well, ladies and gents, welcome back to The Big Show, the podcast where we tackle all the big issues with a splash of humor, a dash of wisdom, and we try to make it a whole lot of fun. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and joining me today is my co-host, the man who put the wise in wisecrack, Dwayne Ward. Welcome back to another great episode, sir. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing great, man.
Doing
So, last week we went ahead and we played a version that you and I did maybe about a year ago. It was a good episode, but we are back live right now. This is broadcasting live across the world, like it usually is. This is episode 68, by the way, and today's episode is why women sleep with married men. Now, the reason why I decided to talk about this today, Dwayne, is because about a year or so ago, we were talking about this. We alluded to it on a few episodes. We had the Czar on a couple weeks back. If you remember, he was the dating coach that we had on the Big Show. And we had three of us were talking about why women sometimes prefer or pursue married men when, the natural standard is that married men and women are off limits, yet sometimes women actually, go after them, and not always do they understand why that is, and not always do they understand consciously why they do it. So I have my thoughts, and I've done a lot of research like I normally do, and put together a podcast to talk about this very sensitive subject on why women sleep with and try to date married men. Now, today, folks, we are going to dive into a topic that's juicier than your Aunt Martha's Thanksgiving turkey. It's going to be a doozy, Dwayne. It's going to be a doozy. And as controversial as pineapple on pizza.
Hey, I like pineapple on pizza.
I like pineapple on
pizza. And some today.
I don't know why people get so spun up about it. But today we're going to talk about the ever so taboo topic of infidelity. Specifically, the life of the other woman. That's what we're going to talk about now. Or everyone out there rolls their eyes or thinks that we're about to serve up some gossip column. Let me tell you, there's a whole lot more to this than meets the eye. We're going to peel back some layers. We're going to dive deep into the ever so mysterious minds of women. And that's
Scooby-Doo episode.
A lot of people might think that they know all there is to know about infidelity. So there might be some people out there listening right now that says, listen, Jim, it's just that bad people do bad things. And, let me stop you right there. Infidelity is a treacherous tightrope that many people do walk on, often without a safety net. For a woman, though, to admit to the taboo of sleeping with a married man, it comes with a whole lot more risk, I think, than if it was the other way around. You see, if it's a man sleeping with a married woman, then he's a POS, not a very good man. Fair enough. Yeah. But when a woman does it, she is at the risk of being those two things as well, but also being at risk of being labeled a homewrecker, 304, and worse. Yet behind every scandalous headline and hushed gossip, there lies a profoundly intricate story, one of vulnerability, one of desire, and complicated human emotions to why women do what they do. And let's face it, folks, we're all suckers for a good story. We love peeling back the curtain of the unknown. We love uncovering the secrets behind closed doors, but today, we're not here to judge, and we're not here to gossip. We're not here to judge or gossip. We're here to understand. So let's kind of jump right into it. The stereotype versus the reality. Let's talk about that. Okay. The commonly painted picture of the other woman is often one-dimensional. Here's what I mean. She's portrayed as the villain in the rom-com movies, the evil seductress on the television, but my friends, reality is far more nuanced. In today's exploration, we're going to peel back the layers of complexity that shape women's decisions to engage with married partners And the stories reveal profound truths about the human need for connection and love and validation, and why sometimes these needs that women have lead to paths less traveled, like dancing with a married man. So let's start with the $1 million question. Why would a woman get involved with a married man? So you might be thinking, well, it's all about the thrill. Okay, well, sure, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, but hold on, because there's way more to it than just the excitement of sneaking around like a ninja at night. Okay. As many of you already know, I'm a man that studies patterns, or a thief in the night like Dwayne. So you guys, many of you guys have known me now for going on a couple years from the podcast. And you guys probably already know that I'm a man who does decently well at studying patterns. I notice certain behaviors in men and women, which has led me to be able to coach on both how and why the opposite sex does what they do. And one of those things that I've noticed is how being married doesn't quite stop advances in their tracks like they should. Now, it's not all that hard to understand why men pursue married women. Their reasons are a little more primal, right? It's a little more physical. But why would a woman do such a thing? Physical? Yeah, sure. Some. But mostly women don't sleep with a man unless there's some sort of feeling towards him.
Right.
And the women that flirt with married men, there hasn't really been enough time to develop feelings with that man if she just met him. So my co-host knows all too well what this feels like, since he is in fact married. He's a married man, and he's actually gotten a few advances.
Can you believe it? If you can believe that, somebody said, "Ooh, I got to take that home."
Yep. And you got advances from women when she knew you were
married. My wife's sitting right there.
Right there.
Have no shame. It's crazy.
So, for instance, this just happened to Dwayne as early as last week. You see, the reason we posted an older video, folks, last week on Sunday was because I flew to Dallas to visit my friend here, Dwayne. And I saw firsthand these disgusting advances that Dwayne had to subject themselves to. These disgusting advances, folks, on this man's innocence. This pure, sweet,
pure as the driven snow,
deflowered man, minding his own business. So let me share with you the story. Let's do story. Dwayne, you want to do story time? I don't think you do, but we're going to do story time.
No, if I want to. I don't know where this is going.
Oh, you know exactly where this is going. So last week, Dwayne was under the impression that I was flying to Dallas to hang out with him. No. No one likes you that much. No. I wasn't going there to hang out with Dwayne. And then Dwayne was also under the impression that we were going to go. I was flying to Dallas to hang out with Dwayne and also go and watch Robert Garza speak to a men's ministry about time taking back bill.
Right. That was the entire reason for your visit. The entire reason for your visit.
As you
technical issues, I think we're having technical problems.
No, everything is working just fine on my end. So that also wasn't the reason. You see, folks, I also can be a little treacherous at times, and but I do it for the goodness. I do it for you, folks, and this is what I mean. So I fly to Dallas, and you know what? let me show you, because as you know, I can show you better than I can tell you. One second. So
let's take Todd's comment here before we get into that. We went to go see Robert do a talk. Actually had a number of other folks there. Jimmy was there. That was his entire reason for coming to Texas. And we got to see Jeff Younger and Rustin Wright, and had a very lovely time hearing him speak. was a very emotional, great, pretty much all day event. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but not quite all night, was it, Dwayne? So, anyways, let's get on with this.
No, I
Let me
don't think
pull
it
my
was all
screen
night.
up here real fast for everyone to see. Share my screen, and bada boom. So this is
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
starts off, right? It starts off with us, at the New Beginnings Church where Robert Garza was speaking, and there
yep,
he is, talking amongst all the people about the time taking back bill, which is a great bill that has now passed into law in Texas that talks about you getting fathers getting their time back whenever they were accused of some accusation that ended up being false.
hmm
And Robert, as always, did a really great job speaking. It was great to be a part of that. We even saw someone with a Dad Talk Today cup there. It was great.
yep.
Afterwards, we all grabbed lunch. So here's the three of us. Not quite the most flattering picture of Dwayne and I, but we all grabbed lunch afterwards. And then, if you remember correct, we went to boom.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
We went to. That's all we did afterwards. We went to the baseball game.
yeah,
Yep.
we saw the Rangers play, and
Yeah, yeah.
this is pretty interesting. I don't know. Did you guys know that there are robots that actually bartend for you now?
Yeah.
Like is all of our jobs going to be taken by robots eventually? But this is a robot. I thought it was pretty interesting. That is a bartender, and I am going to boycott robots, but not everyone boycotts robots, and some people partake into the adult beverages, even if adult beverages is some sort of like Bahama Mama or some other feminine drink. I
That was a
think,
strawberry margarita, and it
yeah,
was nice. The entire the Rangers auditorium, whatever, was air conditioning. Was a nice, cool 72 degrees the entire time. It was a great experience and all that. I know I was really tired afterwards and decided to go on home and sleep it all off. Yeah, it was
yeah.
great.
Well, that's not quite what happened. This drink right
That's the way I
here. I mean,
remember it.
you see how he's enjoying the drink. I think he ordered that drink because it was the only drink on the menu that actually came with a tampon as well. You order a drink, and then you get a tampon in case you start to spot. Then we walk by, and there's the
Oh
Bally
yeah,
Sports booth. Dwayne and I, being podcasters that we are, we wanted to jump in there. We tried to jump in there and just take over, but the guy on the left that's scratching his ass, prevented us from going in there. So unfortunately, we were not able to do so. But to Dwayne's point, it's a domed, arena, auditorium, baseball field, whatever you want to call it. It was about
yeah,
108 degrees outside, but it was 72 inside. So it was just a great, great time.
yeah.
Now, after the game, what
I went
happened
home.
after the game?
I think I
I
was
forget.
pretty worn out from the game, so I
Yeah.
just went home. Yeah, it was sad to say goodbye to you so early in the evening, but I just went ahead and went home.
Is that what happened? Because I think I remember us going, "Hey, let's go to dinner." And Dwayne is always hungry, so he's not going to pass up a meal. So in the convoy, caravan, whatever, we start traveling towards what Dwayne thought was dinner. Now, then the real reason why I show up to Dallas unveils itself. You see, for those of you who are avid listeners of the show, you probably remember a couple weeks back, I think it was three, there was something that Dwayne mentioned on a podcast, and in the comment section, you guys went lit. And Dwayne had never done something. Does anyone want to put it in the comment section? Somewhere where Dwayne has never been, something that he's never done.
Only frequent followers of the show would probably know that. I think personally, I think it's unimportant. It probably we need to get back to educating the masses on the statistics and the data on
Yeah, we will
we will.
right after I post Todd's correct answer.
But I don't think I don't recall that happening. I'm trying to remember the events of Saturday.
No,
I,
don't recall this. Don't recall pulling up and Dwayne's face drops and he was stunned. Don't recall you getting out of the car paralyzed standing in the parking lot.
We got to
like
tell
10
part of that
minutes.
story. So we're driving, and we pull into a very unsavory location, and I'm like, "What the hell's going on here?" And we were talking about we're all going to dinner, and we pull up to the establishment. We're going to pull that back up there, and I'm going, "Is that like a rainforest cafe?" Because I only saw the side of it, and it said, "What was it? The Spearmint Rhino." And I'm like, "Oh, that's like a rain cafe. We're gonna have exotic." I normally don't eat that way, but I hear some people do that. They're gonna have ostrich and alligator and elk and all that stuff there.
No,
So
they're just serving up clams. And so it's the funny part is when Dwayne's actually walking from the car into the strip club. I happened to capture live footage for all of you. Let's play the tape.
Wayne, you're 52. It's time for
yes.
Band-Aid.
It's time to pop that cherry, Dwayne.
Pop the cherry, baby. You know what? You're popping the cherry with your best friend of the whole
There's like so many things going through my mind. One, I'm with my wife.
This is much better than not being with her.
Good
Yes.
point.
But oh god, you're recording it for posterity. Oh my god.
This is going on the podcast.
This is going on the podcast. Oh great.
You'll be fine. I'll hold your hand.
Please hold my hand because I'm confused. I don't know the protocols here.
Oh, man.
It was the most awkward moment. One of the most awkward moments I think I've ever had in my entire life.
There's a picture of Dwayne inside the strip club. Now, for all of those of you wondering what happened inside the strip club, let's just say that Dwayne's deepest fantasies came true. Deepest fantasies. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the stripper. With one of Dwayne's Transformer mask on, we snuck it into the club and we had to pay her extra, and then she put it on.
Oh god.
Oh my goodness, you can't make this up. Oh god.
And you got to set some of this up because I walk in, I'm asking, what's the protocol? I don't understand what to do. I don't know anything, and I don't know what to do. I sit down, and I'm just confused. I think we all agree. Of all the emotions, confusion was probably the biggest one. But I've never been to one of those before.
I don't know, but it looks like you had a pretty good time to me.
The lady pulls out my sound wave mask. That one.
That's it. That's
my
it.
wife snatched earlier in the day and kept from me all day long. I was completely unaware. That is I think at that point I let loose. That was hilarious. I thank you for that moment. And I'll never be able to look at that the same way. Every day I come back into work and do stuff in my office, I just, it's just flashbacks. But yeah, no, that was an insane time. That was insane.
Oh goodness. So yeah. So anyways, for all of you out there, don't you worry. I had your back. I flew all the way from Florida to Texas to make sure that our good buddy Dwayne popped his cherry at his very first strip club on behalf of everybody else. So if anybody else out there does want to donate to Dwayne's Strip Club Fund, I went ahead and put it right here. A new way of donating to the show. In case you guys wanted to donate to the show, here's how you Cash App or Venmo or Zelle. And we'll make sure that Dwayne gets some good stripper money for the future. Whenever, at least this way, when you donate, YouTube doesn't take a portion of our donations like it normally do. So if you donate that way, then, it goes right into the coffers of the of Dwayne, which will be transferred right into the college fund of strippers that Dwayne chooses. So just know it's going to a good place.
That was the most awkward. That was the most awkward. I would say one of the awkward moments of my life. I was out of my. I mean, I do like process and stuff, and that's kind of how I live my life. And I'm like, I don't know what to do right now. I'm going to do it with my hands. Oh God, that was just and that was insane. But yeah, and I put my good boots on for that. I just want to let everybody know I actually dressed up somewhat for this.
That's right. That's Dwayne dressed up. Correct.
That was me dressed up.
And they were. I mean, look what they do for a married man. I mean, she puts on a cartoon Transformers. What was it? Soundwave? A Soundwave helmet.
Well, what did the manager, owner, whatever, they were confused when you were explaining. I didn't hear obviously any of this. You guys went outside, or I was outside. I don't remember, but you had told me later that when you showed him the mask, you were trying to explain to him.
Yeah, it was an awkward conversation. I said, hey, listen, let me holler at you real fast. So this is going to sound really weird. I know you being a manager or owner of a strip club, you've probably seen some weird shit, but I'm about to give you a story for you to tell your wife tonight when you go home. Here it goes. See that grown ass man over there? Yeah, he's 52 and he's never been to a strip club before. I literally flew, I'm not exaggerating, from Florida to come here just for this. He goes, really? I said, yeah. And he's kind of a self-proclaimed nerd. He's got, if you were to see his game room, he's got like Transformers and Voltron, and he's like Voltrons. It's the lines that like. Anyways, so what we're doing today is we're surprising him, and in this bag right here, is embarrassing as it sounds, a Transformer helmet. A helmet, he says. Yeah, it's like a child's helmet, I guess. I don't know why would he buy? I don't know why grown men buy this, but it's here. And one of his favorite fantasies, I guess, would be for if a good-looking woman was to wear that during, mommy daddy time. And so what I'm hoping you will allow, if you don't mind, is number one, if I can bring this helmet into the facility here, and then can you point me into a direction of someone who has such low morals and standards, who's in such desperate need of paying their college tuition that they would be okay putting on this helmet into the VIP room and giving my buddy here a lap dance? He goes, I think I have just the right person. I said, great. He goes, let me see the helmet first. I said, here it is. He goes, that's a little weird. I said, I warned you that it would be weird. But that's where we're at, dude. I mean, that's where we're at. So what do you say? He goes, okay, come on in. Excellent. And that's pretty much how that went down.
Oh God. Yeah.
So Pretty Kitty congratulates you.
Thank you.
And Todd approves also. Jules wants to congratulate you on your very first Voltron lap dance. I don't know what to say. I'm proud of you, bro. You hung in there.
I did stay for a while, yes.
Todd wants to know if it was a blonde or a brunette. It was a brunette, right?
She had the helmet on, so I don't remember. Yeah, Transformers don't have hair. Well, maybe Junkions do, but yeah, not traditional Transformers. So
did you, just out of curiosity, before we move on with the show, did you disinfect that thing before you put it back on your wall?
Oops.
Did you get all the stripper juice off of it?
I did not think about that. I'll be honest. All I know is when I got back and came into my office, someone had moved my Megatron helmet.
Mm.
And was there a discussion between you and others about who's going to be swiping my helmet there? Because my Megatron helmet, his face was askew.
Well, yes. I mean, we had to get Brandy in on this, so there was many talks with Brandy. secret text conversations, if you will, behind your back, Dwayne. This was many of us in the fold here for weeks putting this together. And true story. I actually missed my flight.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I missed my flight by 2 minutes. They closed the gate. I'm running my big ass through the terminal. Missed my flight. Paid, I think, 150% more for a one-way ticket than I had paid for a round-trip ticket because it's last minute, but I still made sure I made it. That's how important this was to me, and that's how important you are to me too, Dwayne. Just wanted you to know.
Wait, where's my heart?
Yeah, can you got like a heart emoji type of thing you can throw out there for me? Yeah. Otherwise, I'm not going to feel any love right now. I don't feel any love from you. Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I did that for you. So
the links you'll go to. So yes.
Yeah.
So now everyone knows
the links that people will go to. Let's talk about why people do what they do. Specifically, why is it that women sometimes mess with married men? Now, the main reason why women like men who are already taken, and we've talked about this before, is pre-selection. Now, when we talk about infidelity and why women might get involved with a married man, there's a whole buffet of reasons to choose from. But before I go through them all, I want to focus on something that psychologists and relationship experts call pre-selection. Now, what is pre-selection? Let me go ahead and share with you what that is for those of you who are not sure. Pre-selection is this nifty little concept that basically says, hey, if someone else finds this guy good enough to commit to, then maybe there's something to him. It's like window shopping for relationships, okay? Seeing something in display and thinking, well, if it's good enough for them, then it must be good enough for me. You see, folks, pre-selection is all about social proof. It's a shortcut our brains use to make decisions, especially when it comes to picking a partner. If a man's already in a relationship, particularly a committed one, like marriage, it signals to other women that he has the qualities that are desirable for women, right? Think of it. It's like a stamp of approval from the relationship gods. Now, why women find pre-selected men more attractive? Okay, well, then let's dive into it. Let's dig a little deeper. Why would a woman find another woman's man more attractive than a single guy just walking around minding his own business? Well, number one, validation of worth. That's the first one. Okay. First off, there is a preconceived validation of worth. If a man is already married, then it suggests that he's been vetted by other women. He's passed the test, so to speak, all the shit tests. He's shown that he can commit, be responsible, and maybe even be a good partner, a good father. It's like finding out that a restaurant that you're going to has the Michelin star. It gives you the confidence in what you're about to experience. Number two, less risk of surprise. So
it's already out. It's married.
Well, here's what I mean. When there's a risk factor for women when they're looking for partners of their own, right? There's always a chance that she'll end up with a dud, a real piece of work that looks good on paper, that tells her all the right things, but is a disaster in reality. Women have to go through this all the time. This is why women vet the men and shit test men a lot, because there's women don't want to just date the entire world because they're judged by the amount of men that they are with. So they don't necessarily want to get out there and just be that, the hot dog carousel for a bunch of men who are not worth it. Women want to try to vet men and try to find a good one. So married men kind of pass that test whenever they're looking for a partner of their own.
Now, are you planning on telling everybody the percentage of women that do this? Is that somewhere in there? In your presentation?
My job on this podcast is to spit the anecdotal experience, the life advice, the wisdom, if you will. Your job is to bring humor and statistics Have you done your job?
I think one image will sum the whole thing up. For the crowd out there, what percentage do you think of single women that go after married or committed men? Just
No, was this a study that was done?
Study, yes. It's in psychological or Psychology Today. So it's not a Reddit or I was wondering if or some whatever. It was in Psychology Today.
So Psychology Today did a study on single women and asked them, how many of you desire a married man? What was the actual question?
Went after? Not even
actually,
desired.
how many of them actually attempted to go after a married man? Right. I'm going to say 40%, almost half. That's my guess.
You would be wrong. Let's see if I can.
Is it higher or lower?
Well, let's just throw it up there. Let's pull that Band-Aid back. 90%.
No way.
90%.
90%
enjoy the thrill.
Were interested in a man who they thought was taken versus only 59% when they thought he was single. Single women may poach married men because they enjoy the thrill or prefer a partner to whom they do not have to be accountable. Wow, wow, wow.
And we could go through all the boring stats and all that stuff on Psychology Today, or you can do a quick Google search. Oddly enough, couldn't find squat on the reverse of that. Did a little search and didn't spend hours combing the internet, but couldn't really find a whole lot. Men do it. It's not a men are impervious. I mean, we do have bro code, but couldn't really find anything that peer reviewed at least.
I don't think that men do it as much as women do it.
No, I don't think we do. I think we got that bro code.
Correct. Men have honor. Not all men.
No, yeah, not all men.
Not all men. But real men who grew up with traditional masculine traits have honor. And also the one biggest deterrent of both men and women to do something that they should not do is that other men will stop them, prevent them from doing those things. Women are not going to necessarily get physical as quickly as men would get physical. So if you mess with another man's woman,
not that kind of podcast.
You know that you're going to take punches. You know it's going to happen.
Right.
A woman may not be as much in fear of that. Now, there are certainly women out there that will scrap with you, and some listening to this podcast could be that woman that will throw hands herself. I'm not saying there isn't. I'm saying that the chances of almost nearly every single man is going to fight you if you mess with this woman, or he finds out that you're sleeping with this woman. He's going to dump the woman and he's going to, knock your jaw off. But women are not going to go the physical route as often. That's my point.
Right.
So you take the fear of physicality and honor, and I think that's the driving force of why men will not do that. Men don't look at another man's woman and go, I want that woman. They'll likely say, I want a woman like that.
Right.
But women will look at another woman's man and go, I want him.
Right.
More than a man like him. Now, of course, you always have your outliers, of course, but I think that most people would probably have seen throughout their life what I'm talking about.
Right.
When it comes to women choosing these men that are married, it's largely because he's already been chosen and vetted by someone else.
Yep.
And that can make him a safer bet for her. There's a moral gray area, but from a purely psychological standpoint, the risk of the unknown is reduced because she knows this man is capable, willing, and able to commit. He's capable, willing, and able to provide. He's capable, willing, and able to be a good husband if that's what she's observed. The third reason why they might go after him on the vetting standpoint, if you will, the pre-selection, is the allure of the forbidden. Now, that's not, surprising, I guess.
Right.
So, let's not skip over that, the thrill of it. There's something undeniably exciting about what we cannot have. It's like seeing a do not touch sign and immediately wanting to touch it. It's like a big, huge red button that says don't push. And you're like, I've got to push this button now. The fact that the man is already taken can add a layer of excitement to the attraction. It's that little voice in your head saying, I want what I can't have, which is, let's be honest, something that we've all heard inside of our own heads sometimes. Now, let's get real for a second, okay? Some women actually find it safer to pick another woman's man than finding one on her own. And this might sound a bit backwards, but think about it. Choosing someone who's already been chosen provides a form of security to a degree, okay? It's like buying a used car. I know it's not the most romantic analogy, but bear with me. You buy a used car, you often check the history, the Carfax. You see who's owned it before. You get a sense of its reliability. And you might even think, well, if this car has been good to someone else, then it'll be good for me. It's like the same as kind of thinking that can apply when choosing a partner who's already been owned by somebody else. And there's a perceived safety in knowing that this man is capable of commitment, of being in a relationship, even if it's not with her. It's a bit like picking a winning horse after the race has already started.
Right. Well, he argues hypergamy. They're looking for the best man. Well, this chick got the best man. Time for her to monkey branch on over.
Now, with every action is a reaction. There's a double-edged sword to pre-selection. Here's where it gets tricky. Pre-selection, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it offers the social proof and validation that someone is worth pursuing. On the other hand, it's a risky game. Getting involved with a married man isn't just about two people. It's about the potential fallout for everyone involved. Right. The wife, the kids, the in-laws, even the family dog might end up in therapy. The whole thing.
About that. They don't care about that. It's all about the pursuit of the married guy. They don't care that they're destroying another woman, girl power and all that, and the kids that are involved, the family pet. They don't care. Right. I don't know if we're going to be talking about this, but I've had friends that have done this kind of thing, and it doesn't make sense to me because I like to apply logic. If he's going to cheat on his wife with you, then he's going to cheat on you with somebody else. I'm thinking of one couple in particular that I've known by 30, 40 years. And that's what happened. She actually stole this guy from his wife. And then he ended up cheating on her and they got divorced like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And she's whining about it. And it's like, you did that. You're now the other woman. What, like, that doesn't make sense. But she can't see it. It's everyone else's fault. They'll hold no accountability thing. Anyway.
Yeah. Check out what General Miller said. Our good friend General Miller. He said he had a coworker who got so mad at him because he wasn't available. She blew up so much that she actually got fired from her job. Her desire to have a married man actually cost her job. And we all have heard and we all have witnessed, many of us have witnessed, women don't take rejection well at all.
No. They do not.
Turn a woman down for sex and see what happens. It doesn't go over very well. Women are very used to being pursued and desired and wanted, and whenever she reciprocates that desire or something and it gets turned down, it doesn't land all that well for a lot of women. But let's continue to talk about the double-edged sword, because this is where it gets sour. While the initial attraction might be based on this pre-selection concept, the reality can be a whole lot messier, because relationships born out of infidelity rarely have a smooth road ahead of them. You got the emotional roller coaster, the social stigma, and let's be honest, the trust issues that are likely going to come up. Will he cheat on me? If he cheated on her, if he cheated on his wife to get with her, and now he's left his wife and got with her, what makes you think he's not going to cheat on you also? Now, that doesn't happen in all cases. And listen, and I'm going to be honest with you. There's some people listening to this podcast that have been the other woman. There's some people listening to this podcast who have been the married man. There's people listening to this podcast right now who are in a relationship right now with the person that they had an affair with. Right now. And
comment below.
the relationship is working out well. So it doesn't happen all the time. I'm not saying that there's no possibility of
Right.
success from this. What I'm saying is that you're going to blow up the bridge into pieces that can never be
Mm.
restored, and you're going to be further back because of trust issues than you could have been if you had found someone that you didn't have infidelity with. It just makes it so much more tough in a world where being in a relationship with someone is tough enough at the starting line. So, is
Actually,
it possible? Yes.
yeah,
Is
I
it
want to.
probable? No. What's that?
Actually, Todd's asking. Seem to be very informed. Actually, I do have a story, but I was curious, Jimmy. Have you ever had a scenario where um, a young lady, while you were married, did went,
Oh yeah.
hey, yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah. At least a couple times a year, every year that I was married, someone would just throw it at me, man. Throw it at me.
it's crazy.
And there was even a time where the VP of the company that I was working for, um,
Want you to get ahead in the company?
yeah, yeah, you know,
The old fashioned, the casting couch.
yeah. You know, she's invited me to the old casting couch. So you know, it was awkward. It was awkward because you have to really be careful what you say, and whenever you
Your job.
turn that down, there was a lot of like bad things that could come my way. I did not end up losing my job for it, but it was not a fun time.
Mm.
I haven't told many people that story either. It's different when a guy has to go through it. It's equally as uncomfortable,
Oh yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
but guys don't really get a whole lot of sympathy whenever someone's going, here, take this punani, and the guy's like, nah, no thanks, because guys are
Yeah.
like, why would you not? It's kind of like whenever a male teacher gets with a student, they want to lop his head off, they want to hang him from the tree.
Right.
If a female teacher gets with a male student, it's not quite as awful. A lot of people are like, oh, the student, awesome, high five, you know, and they don't, you know, I'm not saying she don't go to jail. I mean, you know, they go to jail at least, but it's not like it's not really the same the other way around, you know.
Yeah. Well, mine was during my first marriage, actually, and my kids and the other person's kids were decent friends, and so it got just talking back and forth. My first wife just didn't really spend any time with the kids, so it was kind of on me. So I would drop them off, pick them up, take them to Six Flags, all that, typical guy stuff. Anyway, me and this girl developed a friendship, and it was a friendship. And I still remember I getting a text at like 7, 8 o'clock. I actually had my boys at that time, again, still married, and she pretty well laid it out exactly what she wanted, how she wanted to go. And she was married as well. She apparently wasn't too happy. I'm sure I don't even have the text anymore, but I was like, you're a great person. We're both married. Hell no.
Right.
If we were both single, much different. Aside from that issue, very wonderful lady. And it did kind of knock her down a little bit in my view after that, because I looked at the marriage as a sacred institution, and I hold my vows and all that fun stuff, even though I was going through a horrible first marriage. But yeah, we've all had it. But yeah, that's one of my stories.
Yeah.
Hey guys, the thing to pull from this, it even happens to fat old dorks. There's still hope.
Yeah, you were pre-selected. So there's other reasons other than pre-selection of why women would mess with a married man. And the second one that we're going to talk about is the emotional connection for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for some women, the connection that they share with a married partner runs deep. And we're talking about years of friendship, sometimes shared history, maybe a sympathetic bond formed over like a mutual experience.
Mm-hmm.
When this connection evolves into something more than friendship, it's often about the emotional fulfillment that may be absent from their own relationships. it's not just about the physical. It gets it's about the feelings that are seen and understood. It You ever had that friend who just kind of gets you? Now imagine that times 10, and you'll start to see the allure on why a woman would mess with a married man. The third one is one that we all understand. This one doesn't surprise anyone. It's the desire for attention for women. Attention is a woman's currency. When she doesn't have attention, she feels like she's lesser than. Attention is a powerful aphrodisiac, folks, especially for women. When it's perceived as lacking in a woman's life, it can lead to her seeking that attention elsewhere. The dynamics of many marriages change over time. They change over the years. Life gets busy. Kids come into the picture. And before you know it, date night sometimes becomes a distant memory. And the spark of flirtation or the thrill of a clandestine rendezvous, they can become addictively validating. I mean, it's like guys who take up salsa dancing to impress a girl. Sometimes you just want to feel noticed.
Right.
There's a lot of lonely people out there. And one of the things that I experienced in my own personal marriage was I was never alone, Dwayne, but I was never lonelier than that.
Yeah, I was going to say, physically you may have not been lonely because you were married, but within the marriage you were pretty alone.
I was greatly alone. And it got to the point where we were sleeping in different bedrooms for the last 2 maybe 3 years. It was awful. It was more like a roommate situation than it was a marriage, unfortunately.
Right. Another
reason why some people might mess with some other people's married folks is because of the feeling of empowerment.
Yep.
Curiously, some women report feeling a surge of empowerment from the forbidden relationship they engage in. It's like a taboo thrill. A thrill that can temporarily override social norms and give a sense of control. It's like taking control, even if it's only a small aspect of her life. You ever just do something just because you're told not to? That's this in a nutshell. Another reason, unmet needs.
Unmet needs, yeah.
Beneath the surface of each story lies an undeniable presence of unmet needs, and these can manifest as a void in someone's personal life, whether that's emotional or whether that's physical. And the involvement with a married man can be an unconscious attempt to fill that gap. It's the age-old story of searching for something that you're missing, like you're looking for your keys everywhere except for where you left them, which was right in front of you. So there's a lot of...
Yeah, Dale made a comment here I want to add to it. I think a lot of the problems is the fact that most people these days don't value relationships. I'll talk to the guys for a bit, but after you say I do or get into a long-term relationship, at times it seems like the guy says, all right, I'm done, which is kind of what we do. I mean, I can admit that. That's kind of what I do. The wooing period, we're going, trips here, we're going out there, we're doing all this fun stuff, which, burns through my retirement. But, then once you've landed the prize, then, a lot of women will say that have cheated that, well, the magic's gone, the mystique, he doesn't romance me anymore. And personally, I would say, that's the sit down discussion with your significant other, kind of explain, hey, look, and do this probably differently, but that was when I was trying to woo you and win you. I got you now. No, don't do it that way. But, explain to them that our goals are different. Now that we're one unit, we're moving forward. We have, responsibilities. We have goals in the future, which we've talked about before we got married. But yeah, throw the occasional date night in, throw the occasional spearmint rhino visit in. I got to get that in.
Go get yourselves a transformer mask and ask your wife to put it on from time to time. Yeah. Keep things spicy, folks.
Spice it up. But yeah, and I'm talking to the guys here, and you've got to do those things. You can't go 100% not do anything. Your entire life is, this thing. Actually, I'm talking to the girls too. It's not, ignoring your significant other, because they will. And I don't know. Again, this is me talking. even when I've had temptation, I never strayed. I got bro code. Women, they cheat more. I mean, the data is pretty well there. You've got to kind of keep nursing that relationship, or it's going to die out. It's just the facts.
Yeah, and remember the stat we saw a few months back? It was actually reported on a national news channel where the female psychologist came on there and and she was very disappointed in having to give off these stats, but it was like, what was it, like 60%, 56% of married women have a backup plan already.
Oh yeah,
it might have been over 50%. I don't remember the exact number.
Well over, yeah.
It was well over half, and just like, holy cow. And she was visibly disappointed in married women for having the backup plans as much as they do. It's just the social stigma out there is that men are trash, that men are cheaters, that men are filthy animals. And the reality is that when you peel back the truth is that women cheat just as much as men. And the stats, whenever we can get women to be honest, they're shocking. They're shocking. Yeah. So while I'm thinking about it, guys, would you mind liking, sharing, or subscribing to our channel? We've got some big show channels now on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. Please do that before you end the podcast. We really appreciate the participation and the subscriptions. Everyone who subscribes, thank you for doing that so far. Also, smash that like button or the heart button or the laugh emoji or wherever you are, whether on Facebook or YouTube. Be sure to sound off in the comment section. Every time you interact, whether it's with a thumbs up or whether it's a comment, it helps the algorithms get in front of more people who want to hear this kind of content. Also, if you guys hit the bell subscribe on the YouTube, then it will notify you whenever the Big Show podcast goes live, and you can watch me and Dwayne talk about craziness like we've been doing so far. But let's switch gears. Let's talk now about the downside of this decision for women. Like, what's the downside? Okay, so this isn't some fairy tale where everything is wrapped up in a neat little bow.
All right.
The decision to be the other woman does not come without a very, very heavy price tag. From emotional turmoil to social stigma, the repercussions of infidelity for women can echo throughout every facet of her life. The emotional turmoil that women have to go through is going to be heavy. Women often find themselves grappling with a wide range of emotions that include guilt and pleasure and love and despair and an acute awareness of their role in potentially harming other people and other families. It's a wild roller coaster that is not always very fun to be on. Like the one where you begged to kind of get off as a kid, but you had to finish it because you were already strapped in. There was no choice. Right. That's this relationship. Okay. You're like, look, let me off this effing ride, but sorry, buddy, it's already started and you're already strapped in. You're going to be on this ride. Once you start it, it doesn't let you off whenever you feel uncomfortable about it. You have to ride it to the end. The social stigma, public opinion can be unforgiving, particularly whenever the narrative involves infidelity. Women who are involved with married men are often ostracized. Their reputations are tarnished beyond recognition. Think about some of the most famous 304s out in the world. And okay, let me prove one to you. What woman do you think of when you hear Bill Clinton?
Oh, Cigar Girl. Oh God, what's her name?
Monica
Lewinsky. Yes, Cigar Girl. Yep.
You'll always remember her name. When did that happen?
95, 6, 7 in that time frame. And it was interesting. There were people even back then that were trying to okay her behavior. That was one of the weird things.
Women don't like taking accountability, and other women will help her not take accountability. That was 30 years ago. There are people who are listening to this podcast who were not even born yet when that happened. Yeah. Yet, whenever you hear Bill Clinton, the one woman that you associate first is not Hillary, it's Monica.
Okay.
And
I can't get a
Hillary is
cigar.
still, huh?
I can't get a cigar anywhere because I just think of Monica Lewinsky the entire time.
Yeah. So my point is that, reputations can be tarnished beyond recognition. And since men are very, very focused on a woman's past, oh man, this act does not disappear after just a few years. She is oftentimes seen as the home wrecking slut for many years to come. I'm not saying that's justified. I'm not saying I'm down with that. I'm just saying this is how it is. These are not my opinions. I'm just showing up a mirror. How about the relationship dynamics? Let's not forget the ripples that doing this sends through a marriage. A woman's involvement with a married man has the potential to unravel these delicate structures. It shifts power balances, reveals cracks in the foundation of the marriage, or in some twisted turns of events, solidify the husband's commitment to his wife.
Yeah.
It's like dropping a stone in a pond. You don't know how far the ripples will go. So sometimes relationships are solidified by the man saying, no, thank you for your advance.
I've heard women, you've mentioned the shit test, but I've heard women doing that. They will have a friend reach out to their boyfriend, husband, and try to start something just to see if he's, really worthy.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. I have heard that too.
I don't know. Not my thing.
For all the women listening to this podcast, you probably understand completely why a woman would desire a married man after hearing some of the emotional neglect that women have to go through in their relationships, and or feeling women have moved them in this direction. Well, let me offer you some advice from a man. And advice from men typically is direct. So ladies who are listening to this, this is going to sting a little bit. So just brace yourself. We're still going to be friends after this, but it's going to sting a little bit. For those ladies who have ever been the other woman for a married man, I promise you that if you had have had a good father figure or masculine brothers, you would have never gotten yourself into this situation. I know that hurts. If you were the other woman and you did have a good father figure and do have good brothers, then I'll rephrase it like this. If you had have told them and gotten their advice first, you would have never gotten yourself into this situation. 100%. And here's why I say that. First off, let's talk about why it's completely illogical to desire a married man. Your male family members, they know how this will likely go. Men will tell you, this guy is already committed. He already has a family, maybe even kids. He already has a mortgage. But yet some women are thinking, well, that sounds perfect. Your dad would have warned you that he ain't leaving his wife for you.
Right.
He ain't leaving, honey. And even if he does, you'll be entering into that relationship with a lot of worry and a lot of fear. It's not something that any male who loves his sister, his daughter, his cousin, whatever, would ever tell her to do. Now, some of you might say, well, not all times will this happen this way.
He's
not
different.
All, not 100%. Oh, my Lord. I hate this. What a low IQ argument that is. Of course, not all times. Of course, not all. Okay. Not all times are you going to lose when you play the lottery. Not 100% of the time that all millions of people lose a lottery. Someone's going to win, but I would not bet my financial retirement on playing the lottery. The probability says you're going to be broke when you retire if you don't do these other things. So I'm going off of probability always. Let's break this down from a logical standpoint. A married man comes with a lot of baggage. Okay.
Right.
Emotional baggage, social baggage, even legal baggage, Dwayne.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm familiar.
She's not just signing up for a relationship with him. She's signing up for the potential drama heartbreak, and all the complications that come with being the other woman. It's like choosing to start a race with a broken leg. The odds are completely against you from the start.
Right.
It's just not something that I think most people should probably gamble on. And let's talk about this one. Here's the kicker. Decisions made purely from emotion rather than from logic altogether, those are usually decisions that we regret. When you look back on the decisions that we make, whenever we make emotional decisions, it's more times than not that we often regret what we said, what we did, who we did it with, what we've done, things like that. When emotions run high, logic takes a back seat. A woman might see a married man as the forbidden fruit, something exciting, something different. But this excitement blinds her to the reality of the situation. Think of emotions as those rose-colored glasses that make everything look better than what reality really is. When you're caught up in your feelings, you're not thinking about the long-term consequences. You're thinking about the here and now. You're thinking about the thrill. You're thinking about the validation. You're thinking about the attention. Those emotions don't tell you about the heartbreak down the road. It doesn't remind you of the guilt that you're going to feel. It doesn't remind you of the social stigma. They don't whisper in your ear, hey, this might not be such a good idea.
What makes me feel good now?
It's just what makes me feel good now. And trust me, there is this. Here's where it gets even trickier, folks.
Does that include an ASPCA card?
It will. Heartbreak and an ASPCA card. You got about 4 cats coming your way. Speaking of cats, my mom said she was going to be on this podcast. Do you see my mom anywhere in the comments?
I did. She was a little bit earlier.
There she is.
Yep.
There she is. Hey.
Hi, Mrs. Jimmy Smith.
Hey. Mom. I don't know if I ever told you about those harsh women that were coming at me, Mom, whenever I was married. I fended them off, though. I was good. But I needed you. Where were you? They were trying to get with your son, Mom. They were trying to take my innocence from me. But I fought them. Wax on, wax off. I fought them off.
Where was your mom last weekend, circa 8 p.m.-ish?
I really hope my mom logged on about 15 minutes into this podcast and did not catch the first 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because when I spoke to my mom this week, I left that part out.
You neglected to mention that.
I was
okay.
Like, she was like, so, how was your week? I said, well, I flew to Dallas. And she was like, oh, what'd you go to Dallas for? I'm not hanging out with Dwayne. Well, how was it? It was good. What'd you do?
We went to a church.
We went to church at a Rangers game. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's about the extent of it. So how's your day, Mom?
Good stuff. Let's see any comments we got in here. Actually, I think we got someone did a
look at Todd throwing me under the bus. You want to know what she was doing, Marie? Jimmy was booking the VIP room for Dwayne. That's what he was doing. Thanks, Todd.
Oh, we got a let's see here. All right.
Boom. Appreciate you.
Earlier on.
He says, makes perfect sense, in my opinion. A married man creeping with a married woman, both parties keep their mouths shut. Okay. So thank you for the donation. Really appreciate that. So this is where it gets tricky, right? Because these emotional based decisions, they tend to end poorly more times than they do not end poorly. Right. And why? And that's because they're not based on a solid foundation of logic and foresight. So let's go through let's just go through a few reasons why that might be the case. Number one, temporary highs, permanent scars. The thrill of an affair is often short-lived. It's like a sugar rush, guys. You feel great for a moment, but when the time comes, boy, so does a crash.
So I called about the pizza I ate earlier today.
Yeah, it's like the pizza Dwayne hurt earlier. It's going to really hurt when it comes out.
The crash is going to come.
It's coming. Women who get involved with married men they find themselves in an emotional turmoil when the reality of the situation finally hits. They're left with scars. And the scars that they're left with can last years. It takes years to heal. And sometimes, Dwayne, those scars never ever heal.
I was going to say, they never ever heal. They change over into multicolored hair and other poor decisions and all that. I haven't met any that have come back. Oh, we'll hear about later.
She's right. I'll eventually come clean.
With pictures, not safe for Facebook or YouTube.
So the second reason is there's unintended consequences. When you make a decision based on emotions and not logic, you're not considering the ripple effect. You're not thinking about how this could affect the man's wife, his kids, his family, and even your own reputation. And once those ripples start spreading, it's nearly impossible to stop them. Once the decision is made in a moment of emotional weakness, this can lead to a lifetime of regret. Some of you guys are still going through that regret today. The third reason is, how about the cost of trust? There's another big one. Trust is a delicate thing. Yeah. Folks, it's like a piece of fine china. Once it's broken, it is never quite the same. If a man is willing to cheat on his wife with you, what makes you think that he won't cheat on you with someone else? Now, it doesn't mean that it always will happen. Okay. It does not mean that. There are some married men who have cheated on their wives that can and will be faithful going forward. Yeah. Those people exist. I agree with you. My stance is that the probability is that it won't go in your favor, not that it doesn't exist. And when you're making decisions based on emotions, you're often not considering how they will impact your own ability to trust him or be trusted by him. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that? In the future, if you, ladies, if you get what you want and you get the man from her, you're throwing a stick of dynamite, it's blowing all this shit up. There's legal shit that you have to deal with. There's his depression because now he's without his kids, perhaps. Half of his assets are gone. Now he's entered into this new relationship with you, and he looks like a different version of who you remember because the man's broken. And then there is, how is it going to affect your ability, ladies, to trust the guy that you now acquired?
Well, I mean, honestly, when she goes, Bob, would you ever cheat on me? And he says no, I can't believe him because he's already done it. Oh, wait, but I would never, not all. I would not, that was just another whatever. I'm not like that now. I'm a new creation and other BS.
Yeah. And the final one, let's face it, when we make decisions solely based on emotions, we're often not in our right minds. Emotions, they're fleeting. They can change with the wind, and they're not reliable guides for making big life choices. And yet, when we see it time and time again. We see it. We see people jumping into relationships that are clearly doomed from the start because they're riding high on an emotional wave. Have we not all seen this? Have we not experienced this? And then we have learned to see this when we see other people's relationships. They're entering into something that we know is doomed from the start because they're riding high on this emotional wave. And we go, man, this plane's going to crash, and it's going to crash hard. But here's the deal, folks. Emotions are not facts. They are feelings. And while they are important, they should never be the sole factor in making a decision, especially one as serious as getting involved with a married man. It's like building a house on quicksand. In the beginning, it might seem stable for a moment, but it's going to sink.
Yeah.
And if that's not enough to steer you clear from married men, consider this fact. Men don't, oh man, this is going to hurt. I'm sorry. This is going to hurt. I've got to be honest because, ladies, I love you. I love you. I truly want the best for you. I truly want the best for you. This is not me hating on you. This is me helping you. The truth is this, ladies. Men don't love like you do.
Fact.
Men can have sex with you and not feel any emotional connection to you at all. It's possible.
Yep.
Every man listening to this, every man listening to my voice has experienced exactly what I just said. He can, ladies, that man can love his wife, have sex with you, and nowhere in his mind is he thinking of leaving his wife for you.
Right.
In your mind, you want him to leave her. And many times you're counting on him leaving her. In his mind, you're just a side chick. He gets all the benefits of a side chick and none of the commitment of the real girlfriend. And when you push him to leave his wife too hard, he will shut down that relationship with the quickness. Why? Because oh God, this is going to hurt.
I know. It's like,
why? Because you didn't mean much to him outside of fun to begin with.
You're in the fun zone.
I'm so sorry. I really am. I'm so sorry. Because some of you that just cut you deep. Because some of you that you've been that woman.
Well, the chicks that can't believe it, the man is dishonoring his vows, his wife, his children, his pets, his future, just to bang you. He's not. He's not. Chances are he's not going to leave his wife and all the stability and the position that he has to go be with you. You are a fun ride for him.
And the problem with it, ladies, is that you still get to leave with all the same scars and all the same stigma of being a home wrecking side chick. It's just not worth it. So that's all the reasons for me, Dwayne. Those are all the reasons why I would suggest that women do not mess with married men. It's just not going to end well for them enough for me to say stamp of approval, give that a shot.
There's something wrong. 90%, again, peer-reviewed data, 90% of women have done it. 90%. We can almost say all. I mean, I will not say all because there's going to be one. There's going to be Amy out of North Dakota that didn't. Got it. 90% of women do this.
Why is my mom saying this? What did General Miller say? Here it is. General Miller. Oh man, these guys are trying to get me. These guys are trying to get me. Don't give them. Don't give them any stories, Mom.
Revenge is a dish best served cold.
Yeah, let's see what Todd says. They're trying to teach this verbiage to our children. Everything starts with "I feel," which is then makes it factual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I wonder if anyone else has any experience with getting hit on. I know we've heard General Miller, we've heard a few others. Let's hear from some of the ladies. If you've done this, why? What made you do it? Boredom.
I've got a story I could share if you guys want to hear a story.
Story
so.
Time.
An old job. I was probably working there maybe 8 years ago. There was a colleague of mine that I worked with. He was married. He had 2 great kids, a good-looking wife. And they hired this tall blonde to be a part of our group. Mm-hmm. I took one look at this woman, knowing women like I do. I know people. And the aura that she gave off, she was bubbly, she was kind, she was sweet, she was good looking, she was tall, blonde, had all the marks of danger written all over her. And for me personally, being a tall man, anytime there's a tall woman around, it almost seems like we have to get together because we're both tall, and I think women like to date men who are taller than them. So she was like 5'11", 5'10", 5'11". So, there's not a whole lot of, 6'4", 6'5", right. 6'6" guys out there. So, she threw her gaze upon me, Dwayne, but I stood clear of this woman, stood clear of it. Well, I wasn't the only guy who saw her.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another guy well, let's just call him Dan. He had a wife, kids. Dan was a veteran of that job. She was the rookie. I started noticing that he was taking on the mentor role, Dwayne.
The mentor
He was
role.
her mentor. So I noticed that they were together a lot. And I pulled Dan to the side and I said, hey, bro, be careful. Be careful. What, bro? What? You know, the old dumb. Like, what do you mean?
What are you talking about?
Bro, listen, man. Listen. Come on. We both know, like, come on. We know. Don't F up what you got going on. You got a good thing going on, dude. It ain't worth it. I have a feeling, I don't know this to be true. I don't know her well enough, but dude, there's a vibe. I would steer clear of this one. There's something about her. I would steer clear. Just one bro to another. Don't. Bro, I'm good. I'm just helping her sell a few things, and then we're good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out on a golf cart because the company I worked for was like 250 acres. So I'm driving out there and stuff, and I noticed him and her on a golf cart a few times. Fast forward a month and a half, I'm inside the building, and his wife comes in looking for Dan, right? I had just saw Dan out there with Blondie.
Oh, bro code moment.
Bro code moment.
Yeah.
Code moment. So she stops me. She goes, hey, Jim. I said, hey, how are you? She goes, seen Dan? Mm-mm.
Oh, you honored bro code.
No, haven't seen him. He's probably around here somewhere. He's probably on a golf cart out there.
Okay.
Okay. She goes, well, can I just hang out and wait for him in his office? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. She goes, which one is it? So that one over there, the third one on the left. She goes, okay, you don't think he'll mind? I think he'll be excited to see you.
It's gonna be shocked.
And I walk out and I go, here comes the London Bridge to fall.
Run, bitch! Run!
So, long story short, he engaged in a relationship with Blondie. They started dating. Wife found out about it. She divorced him. He lost half of his shit. He lost his kids in custody. He is now at work on every single week, depressed, miserable ass. He's bitching up a storm. The new girl, the blonde girl, it's his new girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
They try entering into a relationship, and he doesn't trust her.
What?
She doesn't trust him. A man who was once not very jealous is now a very jealous man. She doesn't stop her flirtation. She still goes office to office talking. Except this time, he's now pissed. And now he wants all the other guys to stop talking to his girl. So we're like, dude, look, man. Look, dude, I don't want your chick, okay? I don't want your chick. And if she comes and talks to me in my office, what am I going to say? Get the hell out of here. The guy across from me, so not directly, but one to the left, so I can see him still. Good guy. I forget his name, though. I won't say his real name anyhow. Let's just call him Dan. Let's call him Brian. My buddy Brian, him and her entered into a friendship. And he was also married. Okay. And they were friends. Now, they were legitimate friends. I'm not saying he didn't want to hit it. I don't know that to be true.
Right.
If I was guessing, I think he would absolutely hit like any other guy. Yeah, exactly. Any other guy friend. But he comes to me one day and he says, hey, Blondie thinks you're cute. And I said, well, I appreciate that, but no go for me. No. And then he said, yeah, she actually made a comment when we were all out drinking at Chili's or something. I guess they all went out, that you don't really talk a lot. You don't really engage in conversations. I said, and he goes, no, Jimmy's, dude, me and Jimmy talk all the time. I said, I don't talk a lot to her. I talk a lot, but I am steering clear of her, bro, because I want nothing to do with that. That woman is dangerous. He goes, oh, yeah, I get it. So my buddy, the blondie, and Dan, they're dating for a few months. All of a sudden, there's an altercation that happens at the house. Things get thrown around. I don't know what happens. Cops get called, and she was going through the bar exam to be a lawyer, so she knows how the judicial system works a little bit. So she's got restraining orders now on Dan. So here's the problem now. There's a restraining order on Dan. Dan gets called to HR because Dan's now working in the same building as her. So now he's not allowed to work in the same building as her because he has to be like beyond 100 feet or something. I don't know how this works. And so they took him, a top producer making great money, and had to ship him to the call center. So now he's a part of the call center. Okay. The people who can't sell like him, he's now answering the phone because the choices were you quit or you work at the call center. And so he's like,
isn't there an old saying, very crude saying about like eating where you defecate? I'll be nice. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. You don't dip your pen in the company ink. There's
another good one. Yeah.
So GF says, I saw red by warrant was about, I think the warrant, it was if you were asking about the order that I'm not sure what exactly he was saying.
So red by warrant was about like the band, like warrant.
I'm not sure.
Every rose has its thorn. Okay.
GF, if you can reword that question for us, but I'll see if I can answer it for you. But if you're talking about the 100 feet order,
the restraining order,
the restraining order, it was because they had gotten to an argument and she was in fear. She had said she was in fear of harm. And so she knows exactly how to get that done. She got it done. And so poor boy had to go and he was making like 50 grand less a year just from that stupid mistake. They ended up breaking up. Okay. So now this guy is alone in a 1-bedroom apartment. He lost his house. He lost his wife. He lost his kids. He lost half of everything he owns. And now he's in a 1-bedroom apartment, miserable. He doesn't even have a girlfriend anymore. And then you want to know what the kicker is, Dwayne?
Oh, there's more.
There's always more. She ends up quitting like a few months later, right? She ends up quitting. And when she quit on the exit survey, she actually had said she brought my name into it and said something about the fact that I didn't talk to her because I was mad that she turned me down. And I'm like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I purposely steered clear of that woman. And she was mad because she started catching on to the fact that I was short in my conversations. I didn't go out with them. I stayed far from her because I knew she was stranger danger. I knew she was danger. And she had to call my name into that. And I'm like, wow, even when you do all the right things, they'll still try to bus drive you.
Yeah. Well, as probably other podcasts, but I watched a video from the late 60s, early 70s about it was a management video about bringing women into the workplace and all the issues. And I know we get, some beef back, whatever on it, but women in the workplace, it just introduces issues. Uh-oh. Wait, you've been paying Miller off here? Jimmy is such a great guy. What?
Yeah. Yeah. General Miller is dangerous also. You see it right here?
Oh boy.
He's patronized me. Oh, your son's such a good guy, Marie. Oh, we should do coffee and brisket one day. We should
send me some pictures.
Yeah, won't you send me over some of those pictures of Jimmy when he was a knock-kneed, skinny little teenager, and I'll take good care of him. I'm gonna put him in the cloud so that way you never miss the pictures and they never get deleted. No, my mom is not gonna do that to me. Nope. My mom is ride or die. She won't do that to me. She won't do it. Right, Mom? You won't do that with it. So yeah, man. That's my story. Do you have any stories that
God. So many. I mean, this is 30 years ago. There was a couple, both married to other people, and they were beginning their process of an affair, but they all knew my position on infidelity, that I'm 110% against it. And they kept trying to convince me about their affair, that I should bless it. Like, who am I, first of all? But for some reason, they both, and I didn't have a close relationship with them, but we talked, we worked together and everything, and they just kept trying to get me to be okay with the relationship, and I'm like, no, and even then, again, I was early 20s. I told them, I said, you need to sit down with your spouses. I mean, if you both are in love and you just can't help yourselves, sit down with your spouses, tell them what's up, get the divorce, and move on.
Yeah.
And I think 4 months later, that all imploded, and I think all got fired, and it was a big shitstorm. But yeah, I have a million of those stories, a million of those.
Yeah, and out of all of them, what percentage of them, in your best guess, ended up good, happily ever after?
0.
Really?
0. Actually, I'll tell you back. There was one. There was one that couple actually did get married, and they're moving forward. Of course, they have the guy has a kid from a previous relationship, and going through the course right now and dealing with a lot of crap on it. But yeah, I guess one out of all the ones, and I'd say hundreds, just of memory, because of all the other stuff that I do. It's just not worth it. I mean, if you find someone that for some reason rings your bell outside of your spouse, just sit down, quit being sneaky. That's just, I have a very hard line on that. I'm very inflexible in that area. I'm like, you've made commitments, you've made vows, you've given your word that you're going to be faithful. Be that. If you can't, don't do it.
You're a man of honor. You're also a very smart man, and I think that you would probably be good at trivia, especially 80s hairband trivia. GF, I think I might know what GF was talking about. He first starts off with asking a trivia question. Alex Cooper wrote a song called "About a Woman Who Was Evil," something about a woman who was evil.
Well, there was Poison. Oh, God, no.
And then he says, Van Halen, "One Foot Out the Door" was about. What was that song about? I'm guessing it was probably about another woman, a married woman, or married
basically
man.
Yeah, you're in a relationship and you're just wanting to get out.
Poison. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. Woo.
You got it. Poison.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
very good.
All my Gen X buddies are gonna be like, you better have got that one.
Yeah.
All those years of academy training.
Yes, it all paid off. So hopefully I presented a pretty decent argument to everyone on what, my thoughts. I've done I try to do a lot of research on this topic. All the topics that I talk about. I really want to try to be as informed as I possibly can. Some of the stuff that Dwayne and I are talking about comes from our own anecdotal experience. Fair enough. That doesn't mean that it's all life experience. That would be a fair argument. But I've been around a while, and so has Dwayne, and we have a lot of life experience. And so what we try to do is we try to be a sounding board for all of you out there. Some of you guys share the same life experiences that Dwayne and I have had. You just don't have the ability maybe to communicate it, or the platform to communicate it. So hopefully you guys appreciate the fact that we try to communicate the life experiences that you guys have been through or seen in a way that it all makes sense. For those of you who do not agree with us, that's fine too. But I will tell you this: if you follow the teachings and advice, you'll be successful more times than you will fail. And in this specific one, I'm really talking to the women, and I'm really trying to make sure that the women out there don't get themselves in a situation to where they're going to regret it, because women really hold that pain, I think, a lot longer. The cuts are a little deeper for women, and in a way of me saying, listen, I care about you. I want you to be great. I want you to be pain-free. Women are sometimes taken off of their feet by emotions, and men know this. That's why, men they fall in love with their eyes, and women fall in love with their ears. And that's why men lie with their words, and that's why women lie with their looks. Fake boobs, makeup, big lips, big booties, all the things that make them more attractive. it makes perfect sense once you really think about it. If a man's going to lie to you, he's going to lie to you in a way that elicits emotion to you, ladies, because we know that you are emotional creatures. That's how God made you. And for all the good things that you do for the world, unfortunately, sometimes those things can be taken for advantage of, right? Very good looking women have often taken advantage of emotionally weak men because men can't stop themselves sometimes from the beauty of a woman. And men who are gifted with what was it called? Raz? What are the kids call it? Riz?
I think it's Riz.
Riz?
I'm
Is
up
it
on my
Riz now?
lingos. Riz,
Yeah.
got the Riz.
Yeah, Riz. I'm trying to keep up. Back in my day, we called it game.
Okay, game.
Okay, so for guys who have good Riz or game, and guys listening right now, you know it's you. You ran your game, and some of your guys have your game's on point, and it's elicited emotion to the woman that you're running game on, and it was successful. And not all the time, everything you said did you plan on carrying through with those words or promises. Yeah. And that's deceiving. It's manipulation. We talk a lot about how bad women can be sometimes with their manipulating, but guys, we do the same thing. That's our equivalent of doing the same thing. You don't want to be this guy right here, blood red, and the devil. So my point is that we all have our strengths, our gender, our strengths of our gender, and we all have our weaknesses. And this podcast today is really for the women to make sure that they don't get themselves tripped up into something that's going to end in disaster way more times than it ends in a long-term loving relationship. The old saying of, well, not all, fill in the blank, is a very, very bad outlook to take when making decisions. Okay.
Right.
I would not take that approach, but your life is your life.
How's it working out for you?
How's it working out for you? But Dwayne, if you don't have anything else, then I guess we'll go to final thoughts. Okay, let me find my gift tricky little thing. Here it is. Boom. Thank you. So what's the moral of the story today? Pre-selection and feelings of neglect might explain why some women find married men attractive, but it doesn't justify the choices that are made. Yes, we all crave connection. We all crave validation and love. That's the human experience. But taking shortcuts like dating someone who's already in a committed relationship often leads to more pain than gain. Life is full of choices, and some of them are a lot harder than others. It's easy to get swept up in the emotions of the moment, to follow your heart instead of your head. But when it comes to matters of love and relationships, it's crucial to remember that emotions are just one part of that equation. The decisions that you make today will have far-reaching consequences, not just for you, but for everyone involved in your life. So the next time you find yourself drawn to someone who's off limits, take a step back, breathe, think about the long term, think about the impact on your own life and the lives of others, because at the end of the day, the choices we make will define us. And remember, folks, making decisions on fleeting emotions often leads to fleeting happiness. Choose wisely, live authentically, and as always, value yourself and others. That's all I have for you today. My name is Jimmy Smith, reminding you to keep your heart open and your eyes wide open as well. Until next time, you guys take care, and Dwayne and I will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel here, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. You guys have a wonderful weekend. We will see you guys soon.